Hi, Melina here, and it is now December, so I acquired a few books in November, and I'm going to discuss those real quick. November was a good month for me in terms of not spending too much money on books, and even not accumulating too many, because sometimes even if I don't buy a lot, I still end up with like a lot. I think there's around 13 or so, which, if you look at some of my first few book hauls, they were like 40 plus books, so I'm getting a little bit better, and hopefully I will get better at obtaining books, or at least obtaining as to reading ratio, to not just have like 5,000 books I haven't read within next year. Maybe that'll be something I work on. But yes, let's get into them. There's like categories, and I guess I'll mention them as they come. This first category is the arcs, and I have them organized in order of release date. So the first one I have here is called Freefall by Jessica Barry, and it comes out just January of 2019. I want to get really good at reading arcs again next year, because I was not good at that this year. I fell behind on a lot of the arcs I had, and I just want to start reading them before they're released, kind of how you're intended to. This one is about a plane crash. It just says, I'm alone on a mountain, the plane I was on has crashed, Allie is dead, but there is no body, and it just sounds like a weird thriller, and I want to get more into thrillers, so a majority of the arcs that I picked up from my job are all the ones that I could tell were thrillers, or that seemed like them. So excited about this one, it's all nice and matte and stuff. Next one I have here is The Dead Ex by Jane Corey. It is another thriller. Its little tagline is, one man's disappearance throws 4 women's lives into chaos, and not all will survive. I think this is about a woman's like ex-boyfriend recently dying, and her being suspected for the murder. Sounds interesting. And I've been watching Books and Lala a lot, and she's constantly talking about thrillers and stuff, and it's got me in the mood to read more thrillers. If you can tell, I haven't filmed a video in a hot minute, so I feel like I'm kind of just bumbling around. And this one comes out January 29th of 2019. So that's one to look forward to. Next year, I have The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. Comes out February of 2019. This is about a woman, and she has this seemingly successful life. She's like a professional, I think, photographer or fashion person, and she's married, and they seem like they have a good marriage and whatnot. And then one day she just kind of has a psychotic break, and she murders her husband, and is trying to figure out why she did it, what happens after, and all that stuff. So this one looks good. And then the last arc that I have here, I think is the one that I know like the least about, and I don't know too many about any of the arcs right now. It was mainly the one that I picked up for the cover, and it's called The Care and Feeding of Ravenously Hungry Girls, which is a fantastic title, by the way. And it's by Anissa Gray. It comes out February 19th of 2019. I just know it's about 3 sisters. It's supposed to be very feminist. I think it's just literary fiction, and it's kind of how their lives interconnect, and I think something about immigration. I could be wrong. But yes, this cover is gorgeous, and was the main reason I picked it up. Okay, now this next stack or portion of books are ones that I did not pay for. They were birthday gifts from my boyfriend. He took me to Barnes & Noble and basically just let me pick out whatever the fuck I wanted. So, I got 3 books, and they're all like brand new and beautiful, and they're ones that I was really excited about. So, the first one is Odd One Out by Nick Stone. I have the ebook of Dear Martin by Nick Stone as well, and I'm excited now even more than I was before to get into that one, because I started reading this one, and I'm already a little, like, about a third or fourth of the way through, and I'm really loving it so far. It's basically about 3 teenagers. They're all people of color, I believe. The main character is black, his best friend is Hispanic, and then this new girl that comes into their lives, I think, is Asian. So, this is about a boy named Courtney, who has been in love with his best friend for, like, basically his entire life, but she's a lesbian, or at least she's only ever shown interest in women, and, then this new girl comes, and they kind of both have a crush on her, and, that's all that you know kind of plot-wise, or at least that's all I knew when going into it, and I'm kind of excited because I didn't know the heavy plot elements that are in this, and now I'm starting to get into it, and it's exciting that I didn't know, and now I can just kind of discover it. But yes, I think it's kind of just a weird love triangle / might turn into like a poly thing because they all just kind of love each other. And yes, it's fantastic so far. It's really addictive. It's getting me into like the whole, hey, reading is really fun kind of mood again. And yes, so I have that one. Next, I picked up A Map of Days. It's by Ransom Riggs. It's the 4th book in the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children series. It is the definitely like thickest book of the series, and super hyped. I fucking love this series. I was really into it, and I read the entire thing when it was just a trilogy. And so there's nothing that I really want to do more than kind of just already dive into this, but it's been a hot minute since I read all of them, because I kind of binge read the entire series right after Library of Souls came out. So recently reread the first one, want to read the graphic novel of the second one if I can obtain it somehow, and then I want to read Library of Souls, and then read this for the first time. But yes, it is gorgeous, it is thick, and I'm excited to get into it sometime soon, sometime next year. And then the last one that I picked up on my birthday was Toil and Trouble, 15 Tales of Women in Witchcraft, edited by Jessica Spotswood and Tess Sharp. Lots of people have been picking this up. I've seen this all over Instagram because it's a very gorgeous, aesthetically pleasing book. It is more appropriate, I guess, for like fall / witchy autumnal vibes / Halloween. It's a bunch of short stories. I believe the first one is about Hispanic witches, which excited me. And yes, I love a good anthology occasionally. I think I'll read this just whenever I'm in the mood for it, though. Like, I'm not going to save it for, like, next October unless that's when I happen to be getting around to it. But I'm excited to finally have it, and I think that I'll really like it. So that's that one. Like I said, I'm already, like, almost halfway through, and so far haven't spent any money on books. But this next stack of 3 are ones that I picked up at Dollar Tree. So, the first one I have here is Loving Dallas by Casey Quinn. It is a book in the Neon Dreams series. This is a new adult romance series. All of these are new adult romance, I believe. But this one, if you couldn't tell by the cover, is like one of those rock star romance things about like this guy who's in a band and this girl who falls in love with him. It's kind of down to the point and whatnot, but I love those kinds of stories. Like, I read Songs About a Girl like 2 years ago or so, and it was one of my favorite books that I had read in a while, and I realized how much I like that kind of genre. So there's that one. Then I have Flicker and Burn by T.M. Goldien. It's a book in the Cold Fury series, and it is about this woman who, her family is kidnapped, and she has this journal or something that can kind of be like the key to getting them back, or like what the kidnappers want or something. And yeah, seems exciting. So I got this one. And then the last one from this portion is called Better When He's Bold by Jay Crownover. I have one other book by Jay Crownover, which is the first book in the Marked Men series, Rule, which I'm excited to get into, but this is from the Welcome to the Point series. I might have picked this up under, like, maybe not false pretenses, but not understanding necessarily the blurb when I read it, because it talks a lot about kingdoms and crowns and rulers and whatnot, so I thought that it was kind of a more fantasy-esque, or at least royalty-esque based story, but I think it was more metaphorical, all of the stuff that they were saying in the blurb, and it's kind of just, you know, the king of, like, that kind of dark underground kind of thing. But either way, it is a new adult romance book, and I'm excited to get more into this author because I have heard good things about her, so either way I have it now. Let's see if I get to it. And, yeah, now we have 2 books, that I got from my job randomly. They're used because I work at a used bookstore, and so they were pretty cheap when I picked them up, and then we have 2 that I got on Black Friday. So the first one that I got from my job is Delirium by Lauren Oliver. We were selling it for $6, so I probably got it for like $4. I got the ebook to this a hot minute ago, like a couple months ago, because I was excited to read it because I was going through a breakup, and I liked the whole picking up a book with the concept of love being a disease, which obviously from it being YA and all that shit, you can assume that it'll be like, oh, turns out love's not a disease, and it's a good thing, and we should all strive for, like, romantical love or whatever the fuck, but, nonetheless, I still am excited to read a book with that kind of plot, so as soon as we got it in, I was excited, and I immediately bought it. And yes, that's what this book is about. It used to be a really popular dystopian series, and, I'm excited to get into it. And then the other book that I got for my job is probably the most fantastic cookbook I've ever seen before, and it's called The Snacking Dead, by D.B. Walker. Not to be confused with the official Walking Dead cookbook. But this is basically kind of a novel, like a zombie apocalypse novel. So it has, let me see if I can just find a page that looks more so normal. I don't know. Like, it's just a book that has, like, a narrative about the zombie apocalypse breaking out, like it's just a regular story, and then occasionally when this woman, who knows how to cook, decides to make meals amongst the zombie apocalypse and stuff, it has the recipe and how to make the things that she's eating and whatnot. And I just loved that concept, and I want to, when I decide to pick up this book and read it, as I'm reading, pause every time there's a recipe, make that recipe, and then continue reading it. And so it'll probably take me a hot minute to read this, but I'm excited to finally pick it up, especially because one of my, like, New Year's resolutions, I originally assigned it to myself for this year, but it didn't work out, so I'm going to try again for next year, is to learn how to cook. So, this is here, and I'm excited about it. And that was around, like, $5, I think. And then we have the last two books that I got, which I got for Black Friday. First one I got on Black Friday was at Target, and it's normally $40, and I think I got it for $20. So we have The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan, the first book in the Percy Jackson series, the illustrated edition, illustrated by John Rocco. I adore this book. If you have watched my channel, you know that I recently reread The Lightning Thief. I love this series, and I'm excited to get further in it. And so, since this always kind of meant more to me than Harry Potter, I was even more excited to get this than I was to get the Harry Potter ones, and I own all three of those already. So, since I just reread the book, normally I would have just, like, reread this out of excitement for having the illustrated edition, which is just gorgeous. But since I recently reread it, I think I'm just going to look through the pictures, but I'm excited to have it in my collection, and the next time that I want to reread The Lightning Thief, I'm definitely going to read this edition. And then the last book that I have, I picked up at Barnes & Noble, because I got The Lightning Thief more so, like, late at night on Thursday, which is now technically the start of Black Friday, and then this one I actually got the day of on Friday in the morning. And this is Someday by David Levithan. I wanted to go to Barnes & Noble because my favorite thing that Barnes & Noble does for Black Friday is they have signed copies of books that they don't normally have. One of my favorite authors is David Levithan. I loved Every Day, which is the first book in this series. So I've already been excited to pick up this book on its own, but having one that's signed by him, I was excited about. And yeah, when I went to go check out, I thought that I was just going to buy a full price book and that I would gain the benefit of it being signed, but it only rung up as like $10 and change, so I was like, okay, it's also like half off apparently, and I was excited about that. So both of the books that I got for a Black Friday were kind of half off their original price. And that is it. Those are all the books I got. And yes, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and please subscribe if you'd like to see more of my videos. Bye.